A few notes before we start. This Packet Tracer Skills Integration Challenge is a culminating activity. I will read the narrative of each part and step, but I will not be narrating the details of what I am doing. You should attempt to do this on your own prior to watching this video. You will need the CSE Lab VM or access to a Linux command line for parts of this activity. I have the CSE Lab VM open here. This activity starts in Greenville. You will have access to all of the locations. Some device names have changed to match the scenario. Some features of some devices may be locked. Switching to logical mode is disabled. Finally, if a setting is not updating fast enough for you, you may find it helpful to click Fast Forward Time to speed up convergence in Packet Tracer. Let's get started. In this Packet Tracer Skills Integration Challenge activity, you will play the role of 4 different network users in Greenville. Acting as these users, you will demonstrate many of the cybersecurity skills you learned during this course. You will configure a wireless network within the home site, establish a remote access VPN connection between cafe and data center sites, and restore a site-to-site VPN connection between the HQ and branch office sites. In addition, you will perform a variety of additional tasks detailed in the instructions. Part 1. Set up a home wireless network. Jose just bought a new wireless router for his home and needs to configure it to support wireless, including wireless connections for IoT devices. He plans to check the status of his IoT devices while he is away from home. Therefore, he will create a new user account and register his devices with the IoT registration server. Step 1 is configure the home wireless network. The home wireless router is currently set to the default factory settings. Jose logs into the router with admin as the username and password. Jose then configures the home wireless router. Use the settings in your instructions. Step 2 is configure laptops to access the wireless networks. Step 3 is verify all wired and wireless devices have IP addressing. Step 4 is register the home IoT devices to the IoT registration server. Step 5 is verify remote access to the home IoT devices. From the cafe, Jose uses the Jose VPN laptop to access the IoT registration server and verify the IoT devices are sending data. Part 2. Configure and use a remote access VPN. One of Jose's responsibilities for work is to monitor the status of the IoT devices at the data center. He just bought a new laptop and goes to the cafe to set it up. The laptop needs email configured and VPN access to the data center so he can send emails and upload files securely while he is away from the data center. Merrill at the data center will verify the integrity of Jose's file upload. Step 1. Configure an email account on Jose VPN laptop. Step 2. Configure a remote access VPN. Step 3. Verify VPN access by accessing the IoT devices at the data center. Step 4 is upload a file to the DC FTP site. Step 5 is send an email to Merrill about the file upload. Step 6 is verify the integrity of the file uploaded to the FTP server. Part 3. Configure and use a site-to-site VPN. Divya in headquarters needs to configure her laptop for wireless access. She then needs to add an FTP account to the FTP server. Meanwhile, Rick in the branch office is responsible for restoring site-to-site VPN access between branch office and headquarters. To do so, he will download the backup router configuration stored locally. He will then back up the configuration offsite at headquarters, but first must get FTP credentials from Divya. Step 1. Configure wireless access for Divya's laptop. Step 2 is configure new credentials on the FTP server. Step 3 is restore and verify site-to-site VPN. In the branch office, Rick logs into the console on BR Router 1. From the branch prompt, he copies the branch config file from the BR server at 10.0.3.30 and applies it to the configuration in RAM. Rick needs to remove the old ACL and add a new one. Finally, Rick tests the VPN connection by pinging the HQ mail server at 192.168.75.3. Step 4. Back up the BRRouter1 configuration off-site. Rick sends an email to Divya informing her that the VPN connection is reestablished and that he would like to back up the VPN configuration off-site. At HQ, Divya opens the email from Rick and replies with a draft email text. Rick reads the email from Divya and decrypts his credentials with the password Rick. Rick then configures BRRouter1 for FTP access. Rick uses the copy running config FTP command to upload the BRRouter1 running config file to the HQ FTP server. At this point, you can check results. Your completion should be 100%. This concludes this Skills Integration Challenge activity.